Good morning. I hope you're well. Happy Friday. Happy Gold Cup day for Cheltenham today. Let me just hide off that there so you can see me. Thank you very, very much for joining me this morning. Now, today, so I should start by saying, if you don't know who I am, my name is Michael Wilding, and today we're going to be looking at the Cheltenham Gold Cup for the Race Advisor. So while I can see people are coming in, when you come in, when you say hi, please make sure you drop a message, say hello. So yesterday was an interesting day. Obviously, we had a couple of horses that we thought were strong. We thought Min was strong. We thought Alaho was strong in the Ryanair Chase. I made a few people angry by saying that I thought personally the race yesterday was kind of a little bit of a shambles, and I made a few people angry by saying that, but I do think that there wasn't a single horse that ran that race fluently, really. They should have all run fluently, and then more than 50% of the field ended up being pulled up. And to me, that isn't actually a particularly good race. Now, the speed was, as someone has mentioned to me already this morning, the speed was faster, or one of the fastest speeds of the day. And it's one of the fastest speeds of the festival so far. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the final performance was significantly spectacular. Now, Alaho obviously put in a very good run. We gave him a speed figure of 330. However, when everything else was taken into account, the speed figures of some of the other horses after all the adjustments were coming back actually not that far behind Alaho. So while on the face of it, it looked like he performed very, very well, and he did perform well, I actually don't think he performed well as it was on the face of it. So for me, it was actually a bit of a disappointing race yesterday. But today we are moving on. We're moving into Gold Cup territory. Now, if you are just coming in, please make sure you drop a message and say hi when you arrive. Let me know you're here. Say, like Ben, good morning, Ben, on Facebook. And make sure you're here. And also don't forget to hit the like button, the thumbs up, the smiley face, whatever it is that you are seeing on the social media platform, be it YouTube or Facebook, it doesn't matter. Hit that smiley face, hit that like button. Now, today we're going to dig into the Gold Cup. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes because I sent this morning's email a little bit late. So I'm just going to give people a couple of minutes to be able to join us. Now, we're going to look at the Gold Cup, and then we're going to do a bit of a bonus section after the Gold Cup this morning. We're going to jump into the 1:30 race at Kempton, because one of the Race Advisor Pro members actually has a horse running in that race, and I promised him we would do a bonus section this morning looking at that race as well. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that, to seeing that run as well. So that's going to be the bonus race, the 1:30 at Kempton, and that should clarify. That's 1:30 at Kempton tomorrow. Obviously, Kempton's not racing today. That's the 1:30 at Kempton tomorrow. So we're going to jump into that after we've looked at the Gold Cup this morning. Morning, Angus. Thank you for joining. Joe, good morning. Thank you very much for joining this morning. We're going to get started in 2 minutes. We're going to get jumped into the Gold Cup in 2 minutes, and it's going to be a pretty exciting day. I mean, I love today. Now, as I've said before, we've got some building work going on around me, so you may hear drilling noises occasionally. I've been assured they won't last for very long, so if it suddenly get this funny, large, loud sound coming through the speakers, that's what it is. It will only hopefully last a few seconds and be moved on. There is also the possibility we have the kids at home today, so there is the possibility that you may hear some noise, some screaming, some shouting, some wailing. I mean, I can't really guarantee what the noise will be, but there may be some children shouting in the background throughout occasionally. So if that happens again, I do apologize. Alf, thank you for joining. Great to have you here. Don't forget, when you come in, when you join, hit the message box and leave me a message. Let me know you're here. This is a two-way conversation, so please use the Facebook comments. If you're on Facebook, use the Facebook comments to drop in a message to let us know who you're following. Use the YouTube chat if you're on YouTube to get involved in the conversation with everyone over on YouTube. So we're streaming in 2 locations. We're streaming on Facebook, we're streaming on YouTube. So you can chat with everyone on YouTube if you're over there. You can chat with everyone on Facebook if you are with me on Facebook. So please do leave a comment. Hi, Batman, great to see you back. Thank you very much. So a brief summary again of yesterday. I thought it was actually a pretty disappointing race. Obviously, from a betting perspective, I like Alaho and Min. I went for Min because I thought Min had actually the edge, the advantage. That obviously proved to be the wrong choice in terms of betting. However, from a race perspective, I actually thought the race was a little bit disappointing yesterday, with none of the horses really running particularly fluently ultimately throughout the entire race. And yeah, over 50%, nearly 60% of the field ended up being pulled up. So anyway, let's move on. Anne-Marie, thank you for joining. Great to have you here. So let's move into today's race. Okay, here we go. Now, remember, you can make your screen full size. Make it full size. Make sure you are streaming in full 1080p HD. I am streaming out in 1080p. Make sure you have the setting on the video to 1080p HD. Otherwise, some of the numbers, some of the figures may be a little bit blurry. Okay, so here we go. I've got the my overview card here. And Ben, I haven't forgotten, the details of this overview card are going to go into the private members group later today. So I've got the overview card here. As always, I am using the Race Advisor Pro software. If you're not a Race Advisor Pro member, please head to raceadvisor.co.uk. Make sure you're on the daily newsletter. Once a month, I hold a horse racing success workshop. It's totally free. It's a webinar. If you're interested in becoming a Race Advisor Pro member, you will need to register for that free workshop, where I go through in detail how we teach, how we train, what's involved in the software, and how I support our pro members on the journey to profitable long-term betting. Okay, so we got the Gold Cup chase today. The very exciting day. Loving this race. We're going to dig in and see what we can find. I'm going to start by sorting by Betfair odds again. Now, if I sort by Betfair odds, we can see that we've got Black Op down here, 320, ASO 95, and Lost in Translation 60. I'm going to pull those horses out. And I'm pulling them out purely because the odds are way too high. In fact, I think Black Ops just jumped to 480, so 390. So they're actually increasing. So that immediately reduces the field by 3 to give us 9 runners in this field. Okay, and we've already got this from Duncan. Duncan is already liking plus card for the Gold Cup. So that's from Duncan. Duncan, don't forget to tell us how you're going to bet it. The structure of the bet is super important, so please don't forget to tell us that. Now, obviously, this Gold Cup chase is obviously a grade 1. The prize money is just over 250 grand. It's 3 miles, 2 furlongs, this chase race. VDW scores have, we can see here, historically performed very well for this race. So that's where I am going to start. Ground is expected to be good to soft. I don't know if Scott is with us yet. Scott is our Cheltenham ground watcher, but I don't know if he is with us yet this morning. So if I bring up the VDW score, and I'm going to highlight the top 4 horses, and here we go. An A+ card is in there. A+ card is in there, Duncan, as well. So I'm going to highlight those 4 horses because historically these top 4 scoring VDW horses have performed very well in both the win and the place market of these races, and any races that are under similar, of which there aren't a huge amount, but of which they're under similar conditions. So I've marked those for that reason. Next, I'm going to look at the PR odds because I want to get an idea of the break points in probability. And again, we got Owl Boom sitting at the top here, significantly better. Then we come down to Champ and A+ Tar before a bit of a bigger drop down to Kent Boy and Native River. So I'm just going to highlight Champ here as well. So initially, I'm just kind of grouping these horses that are possibilities together so we can see them. Just so you are aware, in terms of VDW score, you'll notice that Owl Boom Photo was also at the top. Very important to know that. Now, if I sort by the PR odds column, which is this one here between weight and VDW, hopefully you can see my cursor moving up there. I would like to get a highlight on this cursor, but I don't seem to be able to get a highlight on it, unfortunately, with the streaming. So, but I am looking into that. But on this VDW odds column here, Sorry, next to the VDW odds con, we've got PR odds, and I've sorted by that, and that's our probability merged with the live market. Now, we can see that actually Alboom and A plus Tard are kind of there. They're in line with the market, as is Champ. Then there's a bit of a difference of opinion with Kent Boy and Native River actually much lower. And then these three kind of sitting in the middle. So A plus Tard, Alboom, Photo, they were considered under both factors we've looked at briefly so far. Champ was only under the raw probability of PR odds. Coming across, I'm going to look at the, I'm actually going to come all the way over here next to days since last good race. I'm going to glance down this column here. They're all pretty good. Nothing stand out for me there. So I'm going to have a look at days since last one. Now, first thing I noticed on days since last one is that Champ hasn't won for 373 days and Santini hasn't won for 419 days. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to remove Champ completely. Obviously, the horse hasn't raced that recently and it placed last time out. We can see that here, number 2. We're going to have a little bit look into more detail, but it may just be a consideration of how we go about structuring that bet. Now, horses that are in the top 4 for 5, 2, 7, 8. We've got Champ again, Alboom, Photo, and A plus Tard. We've also got Minella Indo. Now, I'm not going to highlight Minella Indo at the moment, but I'm just going to make a kind of a mental log that Minella Indo is a possibility under one factor, and the market kind of has got decent odds on this horse. That's more of a mental note at the moment than anything else, so I want more points to add to it. But again, another positive for Champ, another positive for Alboom, Photo here. Now, coming back, I'm going to look at the form factor PFP. I'm going to sort here. Now, again, we jump Native Rivers coming to the top, then Champ, but Frodon for the first time has come in. And then we see Alboom, Photo again. So we're starting to see, just running through a race card like this, we start to see positives for the various horses. We start to see the various horses with positives coming back to the top again and again and again. And we're seeing that with Alboom, Photo, and Champ most. A plus Tard is coming there. There's a little bit of a concern on this PFP score, whether it's going to have the collateral form ability in this race. But it's definitely, I mean, I can see at a quick glance of the upper confidence levels, it's definitely going to be able to run this race. Now, we notice here we got a projected class based on form here, and you can see that in this column here, PFP Pro CL class, PFP projected class, that stands for. And we can see the projected form class of this race is 1519. Now, this is important because if we come to the class of the last good race, first of all, we can see Royal Pagale at the bottom. The class of the last good race was 1508. So we're expecting a big jump in class for this horse. All the others, not so bad. However, we notice the PFP rating on Native River is 1534. That's significantly higher than the projected class in this race. And historically, horses with a PFP score significantly higher than the projected class of the race actually perform poorly in the race. And the reason for this is there's a bit of a lag on the PFP score, both going up and coming down, because it waits to confirm that actually one race wasn't just a chance. So it waits to actual confirmation of the horse's performance. So it might only decrease it a small bit initially, and then as the horse repeatedly performs worse, those declining points get bigger and bigger. And so we do often see if the projected class is significantly lower than the horse's PFP, those horses don't perform well. So this is a concern for me over Native River. Champ, they're not so bad, kind of about a 10-point difference, so not so bad, and there's enough pointers there indicating that horse is going to be strong. Also, a lot of the horses in this field are kind of around that level, so that's okay. What I'm looking for here is a horse that's significantly higher than the rest, like Native River, and significantly higher than the projected class to indicate a possible starting of a decline. So Native River, I have a bit of a concern there. However, the others look strong. Looking at the average competitive form class here, Champ again coming near the top, Minella Indo sitting at the top, and actually the rest kind of, there's not much negatives against the rest at all, really. Santini sitting there down at the bottom. but not anything significant. And the same goes for average competitive speed. Everyone's kind of much of a muchness here. Now, projected speed, Album Photo, again, sitting at the top. A plus Tard, again, sitting at the top. And then Native River coming in, Manila Indo behind. Champ a bit lower down. Album Photo, A plus Tard, Champ seem to be currently the strongest horses, the ones that we are showing up the most here. Now, average speed over the ground. Looking at the average speed over the ground, we've got Native River, but there's not really a huge difference between Native River, Frodon, Album Photo. We start to drop off here a little bit. A plus Tard. Again, not a huge difference until we get down to Manila Indo. So again, Album Photo, A plus Tard. Champ possibly not so keen on the ground. Now, for the horses that like this distance, we can see at a glance that Native River has put in the strongest performance, and Album Photo as well, looking pretty good. So again, we're starting to build this picture up in our heads of kind of what's going on here. Now, the points here that I like, these 4 ratings, PFP, LR, LR2, LR3, LR4, show the point increase across each of the last 4 races. Now, actually, Native River has been showing a slight increase. Album Photo has been showing a strong increase. A plus has been showing a strong increase. Santini, not so good. Kent Boy been showing a little bit of an increase, but bouncing around. We haven't really had many positives for Kent Boy. I'm actually going to deselect that horse. Moving down, we've got Champ here again showing quite significant improvements as well. So we're kind of starting to reduce this field down a little bit. Next, I'm actually going to run a Monte Carlo simulation here to see what this comes out. While I run that, if you would drop into the chat, let me know which horses you particularly like in this Gold Cup chase. So this simulation is going to run across all of them, and I'm using an overview race card to do it. Okay, and you'll see it progressing there. They take around about 30 seconds to 1 minute, depending on the amount of ratings and how many simulations we're running. And what I've done here is I've actually just gone for the standard settings, the default settings, but on a race card that's got quite a lot of ratings there. And that's kind of running quite nice. It's going to be finished in just a second. So this simulation is going to give us an idea, a visual idea. You can see the horse's silks moving to the right as this simulation is run. Now, once that simulation is finished, I'm going to come out of it and I'm going to click on the simulation button again, because that brings up all the results in an order where I can sort them. I want to sort them by horse, because this just allows me, there's a visual, this visual representation down the side of where these horses are likely to go. An Album Photo is kind of looking out at the front. Then we've got Champ, A plus Tard, and Native River. So actually, we're reading it pretty much as the simulator is running it, and that's quite nice to see. We're kind of seeing that spread pretty much as we thought. Those 4 horses sitting near the top. Okay, so I want to have a look at the speed graphs. Now, coming over to the speed graphs, they are busy, and we can see that here. But that's okay, because we're going to put some filters in. We're going to put chase turf, we're going to put good to soft and good. And this is obviously a 3-mile race, basically. So I want to have a look at, I want to put in a filter, I should say, for races that are longer than 3 miles, and that is 5,280 yards. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm not going to actually bother with class at the moment, because most of these horses are going to be racing pretty higher class races. And now, if I make this full screen, now we're getting this kind of this picture. Now, don't forget, this goes back to 2016. So I'm really mainly interested in the right half, kind of 2018, 2019 and onwards. Now, we see this horse here, Black Op, had a big drop between the last 2 races. Otherwise, recently, most of the horses have been performing quite well. But we're missing some of the key horses that we really, really want. Looking in the brackets here, we can see that Album Photo has a dynamic speed figure of 349, which is by far the best. That horse's speed figure is up here, based on a race back, obviously this time last March at Cheltenham. where the horse won the race. And this is it. The thing is, it didn't just win the race. Which is all well and good in any situation, but actually what it did is it put in a really big speed figure. And winning the race doesn't necessarily mean you put in a really big speed figure, because sometimes horses will win the race, and when we've made all the adjustments, they will actually get lower speed figures than some of the other horses. And that's because of maybe weight, ground, various conditions that we're adapting and adjusting for to actually make the speed figures comparable with all horses on a fair level. But in this situation, Album actually has obviously put in a very good speed figure. Now, you'll see here Native River was there as well, came fourth. Obviously ran well. Then had another race down here back in December last year, not so good. But we can see that there is clearly the potential for this horse to come back and perform well. And now Native River was the one that we weren't so sure about, had a very high PFP score. And we can see that that PFP score would have been building up over time. We haven't got the other races in here, but we can see there was definitely this improvement going back in 2018, back end of 2018, early 2019, coming up to Cheltenham in 2019. That's obviously where this score had time to build. Now, I'm just going to come back to this filter for a minute, and I'm just going to remove the ground conditions, but I'm going to keep the distance. But removing the ground conditions kind of puts a few more races in. I'm going to just zoom in a bit more here. Obviously, that gives us some more races recently. But you're going to see, if we hover over these, you see, we're going to see, here we go, heavy ground, heavy ground, soft ground. And the ground today is really not going to be like that. So, which is kind of the bigger concern, really. So actually keeping the good to soft, good to firm. I mean, what we can actually do is we can select everything here, but remove heavy, holding, muddy, sand, sloppy, slow, soft, soft to heavy, any of these ones, very soft. Yielding is okay. Yielding to soft is okay as well. So we're actually including everyone and to see if we get any more in, but we really don't get any more in. So the ground condition is quite something here, quite important. If I bring back the distance a little bit in the filter, so just bring it back under that 3 miles. Again, we get a few more horses dropping in here. We get Lost in Translation showing a decline. We get Santini showing a bit of a decline. We get ASO showing more consistent performance here. And we get a little bit of a decline here from Al Boom back in 2019, but we're not seeing very much. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm actually going to select none for everything except Chase Turf. So now we're just looking at purely Chase Turf. Good morning for everybody. I've just jumped back over to see if there's anything in the chat, and I can see we've nearly doubled the amount of audience that we've got today, which is awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning to Philippe and Duncan and everyone else who has left a message. If you haven't dropped a message in the chat yet, please make sure you drop a message in the chat. Say hello. Let everybody know. Let me know which horse you like today, which horses you like today, how you're going to be betting on them in this Gold Cup race. Okay, so I've just stripped this all the way back on this speed graph. Now I'm going to zoom in so we get a little bit more of a kind of a closer thing. I'm actually going to zoom in height-wise as well, just to make it a little bit more spread out. We get a bit more of a visual. Now, again, you can see immediately, like we've seen all week, you can see immediately this is competitive. They're all within quite a narrow band on this graph. And when you look at normal racing, non-festival racing, non-feature racing, you're going to find that not all the horses follow such a narrow band on these speed graphs. There are some that are clearly going up, some that are clearly going down, whereas here we're seeing the consistency, we're seeing the quality of the runners, generally speaking. Now, when we just look at Chase Turf only, and we look at the dynamic speed figures again, we can see Native River is up there. We can see Album Photo is up there. We can see ASO up there, Frodon as well. Not really much of a gap to A+ Tard either. Champ, however, has a little bit of a drop. And Champ's sitting here in the middle. Champ has a little bit of a drop. So again, maybe a little bit of concern around there. But the horses we keep seeing Album Photo keeps showing up. Native River there occasionally, Plus Todd and Champ kind of as well, bringing up the rear. So there isn't any horses that are significantly in decline, which is kind of what I was looking for this time out. So I'm going to come back over to the race card, and still we've got Album Photo with a chance, A Plus Todd, Champ, Native River. Obviously, possibly, you know, Manila Indo is kind of in there with some place possibilities, I would say. But these four horses seem to be the horses that are going to be contending in this race. Again, they're predicting the pace on this race to be true. Now, they're predicting the pace on this race to be true. And that means we're looking for kind of leaders, early pressers. Looking at the pace in the field, Native River is likely to be sitting as an early presser. Album Photo, Champ kind of mid-pack. A Plus Todd possibly at the back of the field coming through. Could be an issue if it leaves it too late. But closers can do okay in these races, but generally it's not such a good position as being an early presser. Or a leader. Now, Native River's up near the front. The question with Native River is it going to be near the front and run out of steam? That's a possibility. Let's have a look at the horses themselves and see what we've got on their history. Okay. Pardon me. Morning, Paul. Thank you for joining this morning. Great to have you here. So we're looking now at Native River. For those people who just joined, we're at a point in this race where we're saying Album Photo, A Plus Todd, Champ, Native River. These four horses look to be the horses to beat in this race. Now, obviously, this is a very high-class race and is going to be super competitive. But these four horses look to be the horses to beat in this race. And now we're just jumping into some of their past history. Now, obviously, this is a race. We've got Class 1, but that is less important than the prize money. Prize money is 263,000, so over 250,000. 3 miles, 2 furlongs, good to soft, and of course a chase turf race. So looking in the history here, we've got this Cheltenham race, 2019, 3 miles, 2 furlongs, beaten by 9.2 lengths by Album Photo. Was carrying 11.10 back then, and is carrying 11.10 again, of course, today. Now, if we just hover over to see if there's any in-running comments, we can see here that the horse was never really traveling, got away slowly, chased the leaders, headed turning in, and then dropped again. In the fourth one, but was no real threat to the leaders. Since then, this horse has had 4 wins and 1 kind of third, although that third was beaten by 3 lengths. However, all of those have been in kind of 28k, 35k races. But they were over. One was over 3 miles. So again, it's slightly longer race, 2 furlongs longer today. Now, coming back past years to kind of 2018, the horse was racing in higher class racing because obviously last year was a weird year, wasn't it? So, so we kind of need to discount last year a bit. But what makes that difficult is we don't know really outside of these 2 races what the horse was doing last year, which makes it quite difficult. Now, going back into 2019 a bit further, obviously we've got much more higher class races. We've got Cheltenham in 2018, where the horse actually won by 4.5 lengths over soft ground. Now, didn't do so well in the Haydock race over good ground. But again, a furlong shorter. Didn't do so well again on good to soft ground. But again, on soft ground, we got a win here by 12 lengths in the lower class race. On good ground was beaten. So we're starting to see a little bit of a pattern here. And if I jump down again, we've got good to soft. Now won by just half a length at Newbury on good to soft ground. Over 3 mile, 1 furlong. And what we're starting to see, I think, here is that actually possibly this horse prefers slightly shorter distance and slightly softer ground. So I still have a bit of concern over Native River here. Coming down to Album Photo. And Album Photo, I am fully expecting to be good. And please drop your selections, the horses you want to follow. Please drop those in here. Morning, Graham. Morning, Paul. Thank you again for joining. Okay, so Album Photo here. Now, Looking back here, we've got obviously this Cheltenham race last year where the horse won by 0.3 of a length. And we can see here was mid-division, then prominent, then disputed the lead, which looks kind of, when we were looking at pace, kind of where this horse is likely to sit today. And then led soon after the last, but only just won that race. Coming back to Cheltenham in 2019 here, again won by 2.5 lengths at Punchestown, came second, beaten 2 lengths over a 2 furlong shorter race. Coming back here, we got some soft races. Cheltenham again, 2018, 14th of March, 100k race. 3 miles fell in that race, so not so good, but the ground was soft. So this horse is unlikely to have an issue over the ground. Definitely likes the distance. Will be okay in the class, and we cannot discount, I don't think, Album Photo. Looking at Champ now, coming in at Champ. Here is Champ. Okay, so now looking at Champ, looking at the distances, we've got an extra 2 furlongs here, and this horse is possibly used to. Is it going to like it? Well, it liked the 3 miles, but it also liked the 2 mile, 3 furlong. Look at the class of these races. They're all significantly lower. There was one at Cheltenham last year, 3 mile race, soft ground, where it won by 1 length to Minella Indo, who is also racing in this race. Obviously that ground was soft. I don't think there's going to be an issue over the ground today, but in most of these races this horse was carrying kind of 11.3, 11.4. Now today is carrying 11.10. That's quite a jump in weight, and the most this horse has ever really carried was 11.7, and that was in like a 70k race at Cheltenham 2019, but only over 2 miles 5 furlongs. We've got 3 miles 2 furlongs for this horse to run today with an extra 3 pounds. Is it going to be too much? That's the question. Is it going to be too much? Let me know what you think. Is it going to be too much for Champ? I think possibly it may be too much for Champ. Let me know what you think. Coming in for A+ Tard. Coming down here, we've got, again, this 197k race, Cheltenham last year, carrying 11.10, but only 2 miles 4 furlongs, was beaten by Min. 1.8 lengths, still performed well. Only 1.8 lengths, but track leader's horse wasn't a fluent jumper at the second. Now, obviously we've got a big increase today. We got 2 3 mile races sitting in here. The horse won by 1/2 a length to Kemboy, again also racing in today's race. Kemboy is also racing in today's race, and had a tongue strap on in that race for the first time. Today, I should say, A+ Tard is wearing the tongue strap again. Was carrying 11.12 in that race, carrying 11.10 today, but has got 2 furlongs further to run. The ground is going to be firmer. The ground is going to be firmer today, so that could support the horse in that distance. We do have this jumping class. Is that going to be an issue? I think this horse has the potential to compete in this race. The question is are the odds going to be good enough for that risk? So based on going through these horses, I'm particularly liking Album Photo. Native River, there's a bit of concern. Champ, I think there's a bit of concern. A+ Tard is probably the next strongest for me in this race. Okay, now I'm just going to jump back over to the chat messages. If you've left any messages, questions, comments, the horses that you're following, how you're going to bet, please, I'm just going to come and have a look at them now and share them before we jump over to Betfair and take a look at the markets. Okay, so Betman was going for Album Photo, A+ Tard, and Royal Pagalil, but Royal Pagalil seemed to be very low on most of my analysis, so probably going to remove it. To me, Royal Pagalil does seem to be a little bit low. That's my own personal preference. We already know Duncan's going for A+ Tard. Ben is going for trading the win on Royal Pagalil for the place, up to 4 places. That trade possibly could be good. Would love to know why you are deciding to do that on Royal Pagalil, Ben. That'd be great. Question from Graham. Sorry, before I come to the question, Graham, Philippe is saying that this race is Hendon's Festival Rescuer. We'll see. We will see. Okay, Henderson's horse in this race is Santini and Champ. So those are the two horses Henderson has in this race. If you weren't following that comment from Philippe, so Philippe is saying for him Santini and Champ. Question from Graham. Do I consider just the horse or do I include trainer and jockey? A+ Tard for Graham because the trainer and jockey are having a great chat. A great question, Graham. Personally, I tend to only focus on the horse because trainers and jockeys are humans, and I feel that I can't account for everything that goes on in human lives. And over time, for me, personally, that has been more stable, more consistent. Now, that is just my way of doing it. There are plenty of people who start with the trainer and jockey because obviously they are in control of how the horse ultimately runs. And so that is a totally valid way of doing it. It's just not my preferred way because I prefer to take the animal without any of the third party effects that can affect humans, basically. So, but that doesn't mean that starting with trainers and jockeys and including them is is not advisable. Definitely, if you like trainers and you like jockeys and you feel that there is an understanding of how they run horses. I know someone who purely uses trainer and jockey patterns for their betting, nothing else, just trainer and jockey patterns, does phenomenally well with it. So that's just a personal preference. Jason, hi, Jason, thank you for joining. Native River each way for Jason. Okay, let's jump into the market and have a look at what's going on over there. Okay, so we've got the market here. Now, Album Photo, current favorite, A+ Tard 4.9. Champ jumping up to 8.6. Manila Indo coming in at 10. Santini coming in at 14.5. And then we get Native River at 15. Now, that's all quite interesting. Album Photo, Native River, A+ Tard, Champ are the horses that I like the most. I think these are possible, but Album Photo, to me, I agree with the market at the moment. I think Album Photo is possibly the strongest. Is it 3.5 strong? That's the question. 3.5 strong indicates a 28.5% chance of winning the race. Now, I did do a Monte Carlo simulator earlier, and the Monte Carlo simulator only gave this horse a 14% chance of winning the race. However, I am looking for the winners here because it is festival and I'm doing this as a kind of a fun bet, i.e. what that means is I want to place a small wager to enjoy the race. It's not part of my long-term portfolio, these bets, and not part of my long-term betting strategy. This is a fun, something to watch the race with today. So I think Album Photo is there. I do think A+ Tard has a chance, but again, I think those odds are pretty short. Champ is in there. Native River possibly place chances here, but for me, I think Album Photo definitely has the edge. Currently in the each way market, we're sitting at 3.9. In the place market, Album's getting 1.77, A+ Tard 2.02, Champ 2.7, Native River 4.6. I'm definitely not going for two places in this race. It's too competitive. Anything could happen in the Gold Cup. 4 places, however, Album's dropping down to 1.46 for 4 places. A+ Tard 1.66. Champ 1.97. That's a little bit more happy. Native River 3.3. I'm not sure I'm going to go with Native River. I've got some concerns about Native River. Watch that horse now go and steam ahead and win the race, but I've got some concerns about Native River. In the 5th place market, I've got Album Photo 1.33, A+ Tard 1.4. I don't think the difference between 4 and 5 places is particularly huge. If I'm going to take 1.46, I may as well take 1.33, to be honest. So the decision is between 1.76 and that. Coming to the AVB market, we've got Album Photo and A+ Tard. Now, I would take Album Photo over A+ Tard. In the AVB2, we got Champ versus Manila Indo. And again, I would probably take Champ over Manila Indo, but there's nothing hugely there that I'm interested in. Now, what we haven't looked at yet is the reverse forecast markets. We've not looked at that at all. Now, Album is number 1, A+ Tard number 2, Champ number 5. Native River, if we want Native River, number 10. So 1, 2, 5, and 10. So 1, 2, that is Album Photo and A+ Tard. That reverse forecast is 8.4. I actually think that's not too bad. Looking at 1, 5 or 2, 5. Where am I? 1.5. Here we go. It's currently 13.525. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to open something else here as well. I'm going to open the tote. Okay, let's have a quick look at the tote. Now, I've not done this before on these live streams, but I'm going to do it today. If you've joined in, thank you. Welcome for joining in. We got a few more messages here, and I'm going to come to those in a minute. But first of all, let me just bring up the tote pool on your screen so you can see that as well. Okay, here is the tote pool. That's a bit small. Hang on. Let me hide the Betfair market for the moment and bring up the tote pool alone. Right, here's the tote pool. We are looking for Cheltenham. We are looking for the 305. And we're obviously in the tote pool. So we've got these four markets here. We've got the win place market, the exacta, the swinger, and the trifecta. And these work in a kind of the same way, but we can't guarantee the odds on these. So obviously these are the predicted odds at the moment, but we can't guarantee them because it depends how much money comes into the pool over the next 3.5 hours. So what we've got here is we've got the exacta, and that's a little bit like what we were just looking at. However, what we could do here is we could go for the win, for example, with our boom, and we could put the place for the other horses like this that we like. And that basically gives us 3 lines. So that will roll that exacta into 3 lines where we've got our boom plus these 3 possibilities. So that's one way of running that exacta. We could also do a swinger. Now, the swinger gives us the banker. And the banker, we could put the banker as our boom, and then we could do something very similar. And you'll see this is going to give us 3 lines as well. There we go. If we put those 3 horses in there. So that's how the swinger works. We could also go for a trifecta. I think that's going to be a little bit punchy here. Obviously, you can do any order. But again, we could do any order. We could even do any order if we wanted to on all of these horses for the trifecta, like this. And that's going to give us 24 lines because there's 24 combinations, 4 to the power of 4. So there's just some other ways of possibly betting here. But what I think I am personally going to do is I think I'm going to come back over to a Betfair in a minute. I think I'm going to go for I'm definitely going to focus this around Al Boom because this is the horse I like the most. And I think I'm probably going to go 80-20 on this runner because I'm generally low risk. So I'm going to go 80-20 on Al Boom. And then I'm also tempted to put in a little bit of a small exacta, or I could even go for the let's take these off here. There we go. Could even go for the trifecta on these horses, although that seems a little bit high risk. We get 6 lines in there. Exacta or trifecta? Do you know what? I'm going to roll it with the exacta. I'm going to go with an exacta. I'm going to go with Al Boom in the top position, and I'm going to go with the other 3 horses that we like here and there, and that's 3 lines. I'm just going to do it a pretty small, just a few pounds on that really as a fun bet because it's the Gold Cup, and we like to have a bit of fun on the Gold Cup. Bringing back over the main Betfair market. Where are we? Over here. Here's how I'm actually going to structure this bet. I'm going to do an 80-20. So if we're going for a 20 quid bet, £25 bet, which is just kind of a nice fun stake. A small stake there. We can just put 20 quid on Al Boom photo for the place. That's 80% of the stake goes on the horse to place, and I'm just going for the standard place here. And the other 20%, which is £5 in this case, goes on the horse to win. That means if the horse wins and places, we walk away with about £26, which is 100% return on the bet. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm also going to have a small stake on that exacta as well, just a few pounds. I'm just going to come back over to the questions, and then we're going to jump into that bonus race that we're going to look at today. And before we've done that, I'm going to jump over to the comments. If you haven't left a comment yet, please do let me know who you're betting on. Don't forget to please hit the like button, the smiley face button, whatever it may be, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Please do hit that like button. It makes a huge difference. If you enjoy what we're doing here today, if you enjoy watching the Race Advisor live streams with me, please do make sure you hit that like button. It tells the social media platforms you enjoy what we're doing with the Race Advisor, and they then go out and tell other people who may be interested for us. Philippe has said that if Ken Boy manages to actually jump for him and not run through them, then he's going to be very dangerous. And he's spoken to Ken Boy this morning, and Ken Boy says he's going to do his best. Humphrey, where do you find trainer and jockey in form figures? So Humphrey, in your software, I'll just jump back over very quickly. This is a Race Advisor Pro for anybody who is not a Race Advisor Pro member. This is the Race Advisor Pro software. This is our flagship tool and training for long-term profitable betting at the Race Advisor. If you want to join, please make sure you go to raceadvisor.co.uk, enter your email, join our newsletter. I hold once a month a horse racing success workshop. It's free. You must join that workshop to have the chance to get access to Race Advisor Pro. That's because in the workshop I go through how I teach, how we train, what's included in the software, so you know whether it's the right tool for you. We are not by any means the cheapest in the market, but what we do is our only focus is actually on supporting you to become a long-term profitable bettor. That is it. That's what makes us different. As well as that, we have ratings that nobody else has. We have tools that nobody else has. We look at horses from angles that no one else will do, and that's what allows us to get you that advantage, that edge. So make sure you head over there. To get the trainer stuff, you want to come into your settings, Humphrey, very quickly. You want to go to your race card or add a new race card. You want to sort by connections here, and then you got all of these trainer ratings. If we just go for the raw ratings, so we remove any ranking versions, you can see we've got overall ratings, we've got surface ratings, we've got jockey strike rate at today's courses, running styles for them, so then you can choose which ratings you want to add to your race course. You can also get strike rates, runs, profit figures for the trainers or the jockeys, or both of them together over the course, over the race type, over the distance, or all of that combined. If you want to know whether a trainer has made a profit over the distance, you've got all of that combined. And of course, don't forget, you can also put that into the expert system builder as well. Just down here, you could simply add a system for Chase Turf. You could call it trainer system. Here, just very kind of rough start, just so you can get an idea. We could just build a system here, back to win. We could go into here and we can add those trainer factors in as well. So for example, we could add to that race node trainer profit, I don't know, trainer profit at the course, for example. And I want it to be greater than 0. And we can just drop that in there. That's going to add that node in, and we can just see instantly any trainers that have made a profit of the course on Chase races. Do they make a long-term profit? The answer is yes. They make a 9.61% return at Betfair SP. That's 369 units profit since the beginning of 2019, but the strike rate is only 13%. There is a big drawdown there, a big drawdown. 195 units, long losing streaks, 59. But that's a great starting point instantly. There you go. Chase Turf races, any trainer that has made a profit at that course, those trainers will win more than 13% strike rate. They will win just over 13% of their races. They have made nearly 370 units since 2019, which is just under a 10% return on investment. There's an advantage of 5%, but the drawdowns are huge. You've got to have over there's nearly a 200 unit drawdown with the longest losing streak of 59. So you're going to need a big bankroll, but you can then dig into that and you can add more nodes and more information to filter some of those horses down. After all, there are 3,846 selections there, with an average of 154 selections a month. So anyway, that's where that information is. Humphrey, thank you very much for asking. Sorry, I wasn't actually showing the screen there for you to see that. My mistake. There you go. You can see that up here. That's that system that I just built there very, very briefly. You can see that what I did was I just added a system into the Race Advisor Pro software. I set it as Chase Turf. I put the time frame 2019, bet type back to win. That was it. We've got 90,000 races in that sample. Sorry, 9,852 races, 90,000, nearly 91,000 horses. And we can see here I just added this trainer course profit factor that we were talking about, greater than 0, i.e. this trainer has made a profit at this race. And by hovering over the yes node, the yes, this is yes, all trainers, all horses that are running for trainers that have made a profit at this course. Here are their figures. It's that quick, it's that simple to get this information out in Race Advisor Pro. You got a question like that? Here's the answer to that question. Very, very simple. And then we could just drop something in here as well. Maybe we would go for what about trainer over the distance? And we could say, what about trainers that have also made a profit over the distance? Are they going to improve for us, or are they going to make it worse for us? We can see that, as you see, very, very fast like this. And we just jump in here and we can see, well, actually, we get a small increase in strike rate. We drop the number of selections, but the profit stands pretty much the same. But the return on investment has jumped from 9% to 28%. The drawdowns jumped from like nearly 200 units to 70 units. There's losing streaks jumped down from 59 in a row to 46 in a row. It's even making a profit at standard SP standard. 6% advantage. Now, you're still going to need a big bankroll for this. Strike rate is still only 14%, but it just shows you how quickly we can build out and find these profitable angles inside the expert system builder here. So that's the answer to that question. Coming back down here, Chaz Fisher, with Rachel Blackmore riding, how much weight difference do you think she will make? This is on A+ Tard. That's a good question. I actually wouldn't say it. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be significant, Jazz, in terms of weight over 3 miles, 2 furlongs. I don't think it's going to be significant. I actually don't know Rachel's weight, so it's quite hard to say, but I don't think it's going to be significant. Alf is saying that champ's not for him and he's going for Al Boom to place. Carl, A+ Tard all the way. Good luck with that, Carl. I hope A+ Tard pulls in for you. Duncan, I backed 5 winners on the card yesterday, 12 winners for the week so far. Does anyone have any questions for Duncan? Please feel free to ask him a question if you want to. Graham is saying, thank you. Good value is better than the cheapest, and we give value at Race Advisor. That's what I aim to do in Race Advisor Pro. Ben, I apologize for not showing what I was talking about there. Sorry about that, Ben Graham. Thank you for letting me know. My mistake. I was getting too involved in what I was showing. Okay. Right, so we're going to have a bit of a bonus now today because one of our pro members owns a horse running tomorrow. So we're going to just spend the next 10-15 minutes looking at this race as well. So if you've got time, please stay with me and we will see that here. Okay, so the race is the 1:30 at Kempton. Now, I know which horse it is, but I'm not going to go into which horse it is. So there is no bias here that is owned. So let's just take a quick look at this race. So we start, this is a hurdle novice race, okay? Hurdle novice race is only worth just under 4K. And ground's predicted to be good to soft at the moment. That may change, of course. Distance 2 miles. So only 6 runners here. I've got the standard race card up. Nothing hugely concerning here. Voice of Calm not had a good run for 177 days. A little bit of a concern there, but nothing massive. Now coming back here, the odds market hasn't formed up yet, so we can't really use that. So I'm going to start with using our odds, our probability here. Our probability is putting Strawfan Jack at the top, significantly better than the rest, I should note here. Then we've got Rome, Uni, Pazvolski, and Flick O Voyo somewhere like that, all kind of sitting in the middle. And then Legal Rights and Voice of Calm coming in at the end. Now, Strawfan Jack is carrying nearly the most weight. Flicko Voyo is carrying 11.11. Actually declared to carry 12.4, but the jockey allowance you can see here on my hover over is 7, so it's actually only carrying 11.11. Strawfan Jack actually declared to carry 11.12, jockey allowance of £3. None of the other horses have that jockey allowance, but we can see here that just based on weight, these are the horses that are expected to run best. Now, using the 5-2-7-8 puts Paz Volsky, Flicko Voyage, and Roy Uni in the top 3. Legal Rights coming in number 4. But when we've got novice races, there's a little bit of a pinch of salt there as well. I prefer to use in novice races the market as the final decider because the markets are generally very accurate. But since we haven't got the markets, I'm going to look at the PFP scores. Now, the PFP scores puts Flicko Voyage again, Flicko Rio at the top again. So again, that's a couple of positives there. Paz Volsky and Voice of Calm as well. Strawfan Jack coming in at the bottom. Which is quite interesting. I'm going to come to the speed figures. Actually, let's have a quick look at the speed graph. Now, there's not going to be many on this graph, but there's going to be some, and that's important. I want to see some, and I'm going to bring this into the most recent races, and we can see here that actually Voice of Calm. We saw this nice improvement over 2020, then this decline here coming into the end of 2020. Now we're leveling off a bit. Are we going to get an improvement again? That's the question for Voice of Calm. Are we going to stay level, or is this decline going to go? There's an indication that this is going to level out a bit. Strawfan Jack has the best speed figure based on previous races. Dynamically, if we look at all the races, it's Strawfan Jack. And we can see that actually Strawfan Jack is fairly consistent even after long breaks, and that's a real positive here. However, Paz Volsky is also looking to be a bit of a threat coming in here. Now, this race is obviously a hurdle race, so let's just change this over to hurdle. I'm not going to put any other filters in because we haven't got much here. And does this change the picture a bit? Yes, it does. I mean, Royam Uni not looking so hot, and actually the decline on Flicko Voyo is looking worse here. Now it makes Strawfan Jack and Paz Volsky both look stronger. Okay, so that gives us some confidence in Strawfan Jack and Paz Volsky specifically here. Now let's come back to the race card. Let's run a Monte Carlo simulation here. I'm not going to take anything out. We're just going to run this here. Okay, so I'm just looking at the comments there. The comments coming in. That's all. Sorry about I paused there, and I'm just having a quick look there. Duncan, I should put this up from Duncan. Duncan is saying that he thinks Third Time Lucky is basically the horse to win the county hurdle today. Okay, so that simulation there is finishing in the 130. We're just looking at this 130 Kempton tomorrow. One of our Race Advisor Pro members is the owner of one of these horses in this race. I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to load it up again so we can sort in order. Flicko Voyo again coming in at the top here, but then Strawfan Jack, Paz Volsky, which are the two I kind of like. The difference is significant, but not huge that it would put me off actually betting on those runners. So that just gives me a bit more confidence. Now let's have a look at the horses themselves. Okay, we're going to start here with Strawfan Jack. Strawfan Jack, if we look first of all, good to soft, I believe the ground it was. Let me just come back and have a double check on that for a second. Where are we? Okay, so yeah, good to soft is what is currently predicted. That is 2 mile race, and hurdle, obviously, and the prize money is sitting at just under £4,000. So we got some higher class races here for Strawfan Jack. Hurdle races as well, sitting at 2 miles. We had a win by 30 lengths on soft ground recently, carrying 11.4. Obviously, tomorrow Strawfan Jack's actually carrying 11.9. But we can see here there was a good race at 11.11 as well. Again, sort of a similar class, a longer distance. Fell in this Bangor on D race. Was pulled up in this Warwick race coming in. So basically, this horse is looking like it can perform well. We got a number of early on the horse didn't do so well, tailed off in these races, but those were early days, early races. Since it's come back, it's been performing well. And again, even this race at Bangor where it fell, it was actually running well until it fell, and it fell 2 out. So, and we can't account for that, but obviously there is a little bit of tendency there. There's a possibility here. The one where it got pulled up, it was actually held up as well in the race. So this is positive for Strawfan Jack. Coming and looking at Pazvolsky, we have a look here. Similar class races. The first 2 races obviously lower, very similar distance, 1 mile 7, 2 miles 3 yards. Similar ground here, but was beaten 5.5 lengths in that race, carrying 11.7. Pazvolsky is carrying 11.6, carrying 11.6 tomorrow. Won by 2 lengths here. So again, has shown that it can perform, likes the potential ground, likes good to soft, but not as much evidence as Strawfan Jack. So coming back to the race here, for me, it's possibly looking like Strawfan Jack. Let me just see if we've got anything over on Betfair. Let's have a quick look. No, I mean, there is literally nothing. 0 matched on the race. So for me, what I would probably be looking at here is I'll be looking at Strawfan Jack as the strongest horse, and in fact, and based on that as well. But I would have a proviso in there. I want to see the market form. I want to see what the market is doing before the race as to how I would structure that bet, whether I go for the win, the place, or even an 80-20 in there instead. But Strawfan Jack looking to be a nice strong horse, and that is the horse that is owned by one of the Race Advisor Pro members. I'm not biased, but I actually do think that horse looks to be the strongest. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the last day of the Cheltenham Festival. I hope you love watching the Gold Cup. I hope it's going to be a really good race. I will definitely be watching it today. If you do want to join the Race Advisor Pro, please make sure you are on our daily newsletter at raceadvisor.co.uk. That's all you have to do. I will hold a horse racing success workshop webinar towards the end of the month, and I will give you a few days notice when it opens up for registration. It's completely free to join. If you're interested in becoming a Race Advisor Pro member, please make sure that you join that webinar, because during that webinar I go through our training, how I teach, what's included in the software, how it works, and how I will help you become a long-term profitable better. And then at the end of it, I will open up some spaces to join Race Advisor Pro. And the reason that I only open up spaces for a short term is because I like to personally support every new member coming in to make sure you can find your way around the software. You choose the right strategy for you. We adapt it to work for you, and then we can start working towards making you that long-term profitable. So that's what you need to do if you would like to become a Race Advisor Pro member. Just make sure you're getting our daily email at raceadvisor.co.uk. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have an absolutely awesome Cheltenham Cup. Last day of the Cheltenham Festival. Enjoy the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Hopefully we can walk away with a few pounds in our profit. I will be back in another live stream. I hold live streams twice a month anyway on the channel. If you're a Race Advisor Pro member, I also hold a private meeting once a month, as well as a couple of drop-in sessions in our private Facebook group as well. It's great to see you here. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll catch up with you later. Bye.